Lighting designer. The role of the lighting designer. Well, if the lighting designer is really successful in the audience, you tend not to really notice what they're doing. If they're not very successful, the lighting tends to jar and stand out, so you tend to be more aware of it. But what does the lighting designer do? Well, for a start, what they do is they support the mood, the atmosphere, the tone of the production. So, to give you an example of that, if I was directing a horror play, something that was full of suspense that I wanted to make the audience a bit sort of insecure or a bit nervous, I would be looking at a lighting designer who was going to give me a set which had a sense of mystery about it. So there would be areas of shadow, the lighting would be subdued, there would be areas where people could come out of the shadows very quickly to do whatever they needed to do to propel the sort of horror aspect of the story. There are times where you want to create a feeling, an intimate feeling in a scene. So by that I mean, so there's an intimate atmosphere between the actor and the audience. And so, for example, you might bring them centre stage and then bring a spotlight up on them and slow fade down the light around them as they start to talk. And then you are left with one person in a spotlight talking out to you in the audience. And that creates a sense of intimacy. In addition to which, if you're finishing a scene on a moment of high excitement, a really good way to finish that as a lighting technician then is a lighting designer is a blackout. Sometimes it's a really dynamic way to start a scene with a snap up, which means you go from blackness all the way up to light, boom, in a fraction of a second. And then the actors have to be ready to speak the second the lights are up, and it creates a lot of energy and dynamism in the piece. If somebody has the last line in a scene or an act or a play, and that last line is supposed to be rather sad and moving, and the purpose of it in the play is that the audience then goes away and really starts to think about that, maybe even to be saddened by it in some way. A long slow fade looking at the face of the actor as they take on whatever has happened, and they reflect in their face how they feel. That gives an audience a chance to watch that, the actor to transmit that, to project that through performance, and the audience gets that sort of thinking time as the lights go down. So as you can see, when a person is designing the lighting for something, they have a significant role to play in creating theme, a mood, an atmosphere, a speed, a pace, a rhythm to the performance. A bad lighting designer will want to have lots of fade ups and fade downs all throughout a play, and also a bad director would ask a lighting designer to do that, because every time the lights go down, potentially you lose the focus of the audience. So you want to reduce that to the absolute limit. You want to reduce it really to a change of act, or if you've got an important scene change and you don't really want the audience to watch what's going on, then obviously that is a good time to do it. There's another thing about a good lighting designer, and that is they understand the nature of the use of colour on stage. So for example, with lighting, if you just use a lamp with nothing over it, you get a harsh white light which gives you two-dimensional washed out characters. Now for many plays that would not really work, because what you want is three-dimensional characters with some warmth to their faces, and in which case then what the lighting designer has to do is to put either a straw coloured gel or a red gel or a series of straw, red and orange coloured gels in front of the lamp, which is the lighting. Each individual light is called a lamp in the theatre. And what a gel is, it's a piece of transparent plastic, but it's heat resistant. So even though the lamps get very, very hot, it won't burn. And what happens is when the white light from the lamp shines through the gel, some of that colour finds its way onto the stage and on the faces of the actors and on the set. So a lighting designer is a really significant role, and it can make a very, very big difference on the quality of the performance. And of course it supports the actors, don't forget. Really good lighting will support the actors in creating their characterizations and performances.